Hope you all are ready for a rant. Today's June 24th. This is being filmed under a full moon in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn in Aquarius, retrograde, square to Uranus. Now, as per usual, I will be embodying this full moon better than I could ever explain it. And I'm going to be requiring a bit more work on y'all's end this time around, because I'm not going to do all of the translation for the dates, the little technical. You can translate the feeling and the experience that I'm going to broadcast through this particular video. I'm actually surprised that I'm doing a video at all right now. I am so fed up and so disappointed in my surrounding world and my surrounding species of humanity. And indeed, this is the theme of this full moon, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, third quarter square to Uranus. Something has got to change. Now, I've used this Mercury retrograde the last several weeks, as we've all had, to really process, to really reflect upon some things. And I've had to recognize that I am very unusual. I don't feel a familiarity with a lot of my so-called friends and peers. And I've had to learn why I stick out like a sore thumb and have the redundant experience of isolation. There is an obviousness to the darkness that in a common sense type of way, I can simply see it in our world, in myself, in others. We all have shadows. We all have this darkness. And I'm using darkness to define that which is hidden, that which is complex, murky, what might be very knotted, what might be very bound, therefore in pain, therefore in prison. When I look out in this world, the 31 years that I've been on this planet, it's a prison planet. And almost everyone's in prison. And almost everyone is in denial about the prison that they are authentically living in. Well, obviously this perspective, when I show up as myself, honest and forward, this is met with a lot of abandonment, rejection, betrayal. I have recognized that this is unique for me at this point in time. I have not heard many other souls describe the ecstasy of isolation, where they stop breathing, their hair stands on end, and the body starts shaking due to the immensity of the heartbreak of being a witness to the actual state of things on this planet and between people. That's my special experience, just for me, as far as I have seen by and large. And by the way, I make these videos for the few and far between. There's always going to be a number of views on these YouTube videos, but it's not for the numbers that I create these videos. It's for the very few and far between, those that can relate. That's why I do this work. It's not just something that's a service back to humanity. It is that. I have tested and checked that. But it's also something that's in service of my own selfish needs, where I'm looking for connection. I'm looking for intimacy throughout my life. I have recognized that the entire human species, for the most part, is discarnate. Discarnate. That means the majority of people on the planet right now are not in their bodies. They are somewhere else, but they are not here. And this is due to a collective PTSD response. As we live in a trauma world, trauma culture, trauma society, we are all fish in water to trauma. And we cope to this trauma in different ways. We typically cope to this trauma through denial, avoidance, distraction, workaholism, escapism. That's the reality of the circumstance in which we live. There is a reason why I am so focused upon the shadow in these videos. It's not just because I'm a gothic person that likes to wear dark clothing and likes shadowy types of things. The reason why shadow work is the curriculum for every human on the planet at this time is we're healing from our PTSD. We will not heal from our PTSD without understanding the shadow and how it works, because the shadow is what used to protect us in this early childhood trauma that we've all experienced. But then the majority of us continue to live out the rest of our lives as wounded children. And we don't care about healing, and we don't care about transformation, and we don't care about shadow work. We care about escapism, denial, and running away from the darkness that's too hard for us to digest, and so we leave it to the very few and far between to do that digestion and that seeing for us. There is no ritual in this society or culture. There is no rite of passage to become a man or a woman, to leave behind our parents' energy. I see majority of people running around in their parents' energy, doing what mommy and daddy told them to do when they are age 2 years old, up until the day that they die. There's no rite of passage, there's no graduation of leaving that conditioned world, life, that was taught to us by our parents, our bosses, our teachers, and this is a generational imprisoning complex. We have lived generation upon generation of discarnate, disassociated, workaholic, codependent, narcissistic, escapist, in denial, human species. We spend our life running away. Folks, this full moon, if there's going to be any point in time where you're feeling fed up, you've had enough, and something needs to change, holy shit, I hope it's now. It's now or it's never. And again, I can't even begin to articulate my disappointment in my fellow brother and sister, my fellow peers. Honestly, most people don't give a shit. Most people don't give a shit about anything outside of their little bubble, their little fantasy. That's it. We live our life to preserve our little fucking bubble and our little fucking fantasy. That's the majority of people on this planet. I have heard so many people talk about the future, the age of Aquarius, the new culture, the new society, and we get to build this and we get to create it. And if there was an actual opportunity to create a new life, a new structure, a new society, and that actually showed up and greeted you, you would fucking deny it. The majority of people out there. Sorry, again, I do this for the few and far between, so there's going to have to be some sorting out. But honestly, people talk about, hey, you know, we're bringing back an indigenous shamanic culture, and if Mr. Shaman showed up, you would reject what he or she would say. The shaman could show up and have all the magical tools, and you would reject it. Nobody wants to do the work. Nobody actually wants to make change. I have done astrology for 10 years now. I don't know anybody else my own age. I know one other person my age who does astrology to the same degree, commitments, and devotion in which I have. Nobody does it. It's been 10 years of doing these videos. I've done these videos for 10 years. You know where it's gotten me? More isolated than I think most people can comprehend. The lack of support that I've received doing astrology is unbelievable. And it's because astrology is the tool and the work to decondition. Astrology is not going to reinforce our limiting beliefs from childhood. Astrology is going to destroy them. Astrology is the trail of breadcrumbs back to nature. It's not a man-made language. It's not a man-made system. It does not come from any particular nation or culture. It is the universal. Proof is in the pudding. What you see is what you get. You can test it in yourself. You can test it outside of yourself. It is objective truth. And honestly, no one gives a shit about it. People give a shit about their little apps, their little newspaper horoscopes, these shitty YouTube channels. People don't want to do the work. These YouTube videos that I make is to simply let the world know that I exist in my void. The work that I do between clients is life-changing work. There's a before and an after when you receive a reading from me, because of the degree of reaffirmation and depth of a soul's truth that could otherwise not be confirmed in this disassociated, discarnate, wounded children running around without their heads reality. Astrology is the way to get back to ourselves. Astrology is the way to build the next culture and the next society. Does anyone want to do it? Does anyone want to pick up this work? Or is it literally going to be just me? I'm fucking serious. It's just me. I've been doing an astro school for over 2 years. Do you know how many students I have that actually want to learn astrology? Certainly less than 10%. Even the ones that show up for all the curriculum. It's amazing what I'm learning through this experience. I'm learning about the human species. I'm learning about why people behave the way that they do. And it's amazing. It's incredible. I need to make a shout out to my ex-partner, Mackenzie Alexander. She is one of the only people who supported me doing this work. There would be no Rasa Lila healing if there was no Mackenzie Alexander. Not anybody in my family, not any of my friends supported me the way that she did because she saw the potential. And you know what? In the 10 years that we were together, we used astrology to do more shadow work than what I see anybody out there doing. And we transformed and we evolved and we matured in ways that are hard for other people to fathom. I have no regrets to the intensity, the depth, and the challenges that we both experienced. It was hell for a long time. But coming out of that frying pan now, I see that it was all worth it, even though I'm alone, completely. Generations upon generations of trauma, being conditioned. I mean, that's the work that we did together. We went into our shadows. We followed our own challenges to the very core. Very, very challenging work when you start to look into your shadow and all of those things that you were pointing the finger at outside of yourself. You're suddenly starting to see those things inside of yourself. That's reality. Do you know how I can discern whether someone is fucking delusional? How much they're shadow projecting. All these people running away from demons, running away from, invisible bad guys and being possessed by this or that or the Illuminati. These are people that are in denial of their own shadow. I have worked alongside serial rapists that considered themselves to be Jesus Christ figures and considered myself to be a Judas figure because I call shit out for what it is. And guess what? Serial rape is abusive. I watched the entire astrological community come to the defense of Jesus Christ and put me down because apparently we really don't mind serial rape. We're too busy being perfect in ourselves to look at our own shadow, and we wonder why all this abuse is going on between teacher and student at these New Age workshops. This is delusional people signing up for abuse, and that's the other thing that I got to bear witness for. All of this standing up for the victim, all of this defending. People want to be abused. People want to be taken advantage of. People want to spend their entire lives in prison. I watch people have the choice and they choose it. The majority of people on this planet are choosing prison. There's no reason to do this. The tools, the technology, the psychology, we could be stepping into the future. I mean, even the psychology in today's age is disappointingly medieval. We've all formed trauma responses in different ways. If we're not recognizing these things in ourselves, we're fucking clueless. And there's a lot of clueless people out there. They're pretending to be witches and wizards and fairies and dakinis. There are more so-called witches out there using that term to describe themselves that would hunt an actual witch if they actually met an actual witch. People are absolutely terrified of reality. Are you kidding me? A lot of these New Age retreats, it's escapism, it's denial, it's avoidance, it's let's run away from fill in the blank. So we need to recognize these dynamics in ourselves. It's not the end of the world once we recognize these things. But my friends, I've recognized they've got a little bit of a dark streak in them because they're honest. They're not fucking bullshitters. They're not pretending their way through life the way so many people just pretend their way through life and expect everyone else to reinforce that pretend imaginary bubble. And that's what being nice is. Being nice is like us enabling each other's shadows, enabling each other's bubbles, enabling each other's ignorance. That's what fucking being nice is. Are you kidding me? Even this political correctness, do you realize that a lot of this political correctness, it has nothing to do with human rights. It has everything to do with being high class. Like fucking rich people with a silver spoon in their mouth are saying, well, actually, it's pronounced this way. It's got fucking nothing to do with human rights. It's all just lingo and language and dressing the right way and sounding the right way. It's more denial, escapism, and bullshit. You have to know our own shadow. It's like, hey, we're going to have particular coping mechanisms that we form to our past childhood traumas. Every single soul. This is the actual work that I do with astrology. People project all this horse shit onto me that astrology is confirmation bias and it's just a random personality generator, as if you actually tried astrology, you know you can't make this shit up. Are you serious? With the timing, the accuracy, the articulation, it is undeniable. If anyone were to take a scientific approach, which nobody does, because even these so-called scientists are just religious followers of Neil deGrasse Tyson and are going to believe whatever the Pope of science believes. It's blind fucking faith. The actual usefulness of astrology is to map our shadow, to map our unconscious, which is the same as to map our lifetime of healing. Because our life is going to be all about healing if you have any awareness at all. And if you think you're healed, you're perfect, you're done, you're oblivious. I haven't met any inspirational teacher or healer that thinks of themselves that way. I have met serial rapists who think of themselves that way. So, we will find the greatest gifts in our shadow, but this is where we have to do the deconditioning work of breaking out of prison. Because the prison of Western culture, American dream, is this enabling of shadow behavior, running away from reality to create these fantasy realms. So for example, the number one is workaholism, right? Western culture, American culture, are you serious? It's all about being a fucking machine. And that's what mommy and daddy taught us to be, a fucking machine, to be a fucking robot. And then we give ourselves these invisible gold stars and pats on the back, where workaholism is sincerely like having a dozen fish hooks in us, pulling us in different directions. And the workaholic, via their disassociated insanity, says, this is awesome. I'm so busy. I'm so active. I'm getting pulled into a million different directions and I can't exist anymore. And so I can't have any feelings. I can't have any personality. I'm a winner. I'm doing a great job. Look at how accomplished I am. Look at how much of an achiever I am. Aren't you proud, Mom and Dad? Does it look fucking crazy? Because it is. Everyone on this planet's fucking insane. The amount of zombies walking this earth is hordes of them. You don't have to be a workaholic. You can be one of the escapist, trustafarian, live on the hillside junkies. And you talk about how you're so much better than everybody else because you don't have a job when you live off mom and dad and the government. That's the other thing I see all over the place here in Asheville, Trustafarian kid land. There's codependence. This is the classical, you're born in a female body, you're trained to be a codependent. You grew up watching Walt Disney movies. If you're a man, you're trained to be a narcissist. If you're a woman, you're trained to be a codependent. Sorry, you're supposed to be locked in a castle somewhere for the man to save you, And then we are giving ourselves pats on the back because we don't exist. We don't exist. We're discarnate. The only thing that exists is the other. We're a reflection of their value system. We take care of this, that, the other thing in them. We don't fucking exist. Codependents, giving themselves gold stars, pats on the back, running away from their shadow, not being human beings. Discarnate. Narcissism is when people think that they have the whole of reality contained in themselves, and then they're disconnected, not making any contact with anybody. It's not real. It's total fantasy. This is what we're dealing with as a species. It's not just one or a few people. It is everybody, every single person on the planet at this particular point in time is healing from lifetimes of severe trauma, whether or not they want to be aware of it or not. And you know what? We've all been limited. We've all been constricted. We've all been isolated in prison-like environments, in prison-like hierarchies that are oppressive, that are like slavery. And you know what? I don't think I'm the only person on the planet who's feeling that right now. I don't think I'm the only person on the planet who's having these sentiments right now. So you know what? Let's do something about this. Let's do something about this. This is about the time to step up. This is about the time to roll up our sleeves. What is it that we want to see in the world? We're going to have to create that ourselves. Because I already know other people certainly aren't going to hop on board until there is an example and the proof is in the pudding. We did all this work and the results are in. You know, we all have to roll up our own sleeves and do this. We will have to do this in entirely unique ways. Everybody is going to experience this isolation, not really being seen, having faced unique, particular cycles of traumas or pain or imprisonment. This is all a part of our soul's evolution. This doesn't happen for no apparent reason. It's not just meaningless prison planet because there was an extraterrestrial race that got here and imprisoned us. No, that's what the people who are avoiding and denying are making up. It's us. We are responsible for the darkness on this planet. Duh, it's fucking obvious. But we want to disassociate from the work. We don't want to take accountability for our own shit. So we make up the Illuminati and we make up these demons that are sucking adrenochrome out of children. You know where all the abuse of children is happening? At home. Sexual abuse, just a little injection here, is so much more pervasive than anybody's talking about because everyone's in denial of it, because everyone's traumatized from their childhood trauma that they may not even remember, and no one even cares. No one's going back. No one is repiecing all of the fragments of their personality. No, we keep those fragments of our personality out there, scattered, disassociated, discarnate. Astrology could be used as a compass and a map to get back to yourself. Astrology could be used as a compass and a map for humanity to return to itself. It's not a fucking personality examination. It's not confirmation bias. Anybody who takes the time to test it out will get the results. And 10 years of doing this work, what I have observed is hardly anybody does. I am not kidding you. I have like one astrologer friend. And I'm not kidding you. Out of people my age, my ex, Mackenzie, is the only one who learned astrology. She's actually a very talented astrologer. She would hate me for saying that, but it's true because no one takes this craft up. No one cares. No one wants to heal. Everyone wants to get on their fucking cruise ship and take off. And you know what? The proof's in the pudding. Because I hear people talk all about, we're going to build community, we're going to be the next world. And you know what? When there's an opportunity for you to get yours and to go off into that fantasy world, that's what people choose. There's hidden blessings to our suffering and hardships. We have an opportunity to do the work that people who have it easier will not do. It's actually harder to do the soul work that I'm speaking to if you have that silver spoon in your mouth. I mean, I don't demonize, the generations of wealth, because that's where the majority of abuse takes place. So no, I don't demonize the Illuminati or rich people for sabotaging the earth. That's irresponsible. That's bypassing, disassociating. And honestly, I know who I'm talking to. The majority of the New Age movement is fucking crazy. The majority of people into the New Age movement are not doing work. They are children who are taking that free ticket in the fantasy world. I don't want to be one of the only astrologers out there doing readings. And I am being sincere. It really is like that. I mean, I look at the astrological community. Is the astrological community progressive and revolutionary and changing the world and society? Or is it a bunch of old timers doing PowerPoint presentations at one another? I mean, these so-called master astrologers that look like Merlin and have like trophies that they're receiving at these major conferences, I'm being sincere. I've met them. I've worked with them. They're fucking amateurs. The majority of the astrological community is fucking amateur, dissociated, not really helpful. We're talking about shit that's way out there, and the proof's in the pudding. A good astrology reading is going to change your life in a way that no other thing can. Astrology is really powerful. Really powerful. Really powerful. Nobody's getting it. Nobody's taking it. When I show up with it, hey, do you want this? People say, oh yeah, I'm interested. Oh yeah. No, I'm not going to take it. No, I'm not going to try it. Too much accountability. Too much empowerment. It's too much for me to handle. What, you want me to be the only person on the earth who knows things? That's how it is. That's how it is. Nobody takes it. I'm serious. I've done this for 10 years. Nobody takes it. Nobody wants it. I'm doing this shit alone. The reason why I'm doing the Astro School is I don't want to do this shit alone for the rest of my life. But it's certainly been that way for the last 10 years. I want other people to be able to actualize the same level of depth and medicine that can come through an astrology reading. Reading the soul, reading all of their lifetimes, the pattern of the soul, where they have these redundant patterns, how that's connected to their soul's evolution. Reaffirming these things for an individual is the difference between walking through a fucking forest in the middle of night without a map, a compass, and a flashlight, or walking through the forest in the middle of the night with a map, a compass, and a flashlight. That's the fucking difference. I am fucking alone on this planet. I kid you not. I experience an ecstasy where my hair stands on ends and I shake and I cry and my heart breaks out of the extraordinary pain of what I bear witness to every single day alone. It's unbelievable. My life is unbelievable. If I were to actually go through the story of my life, the abandonment, the betrayal, the heartbreak that I've experienced, it is a tragedy that is unbelievable. People would not even believe me. That's the fucking truth. I'm not just teaching astrology school because it's my selfless service back to humanity. And you know what? Anybody out there who is pretending that what they're doing is only because of their selfless service to humanity is full of shit. We give back to the world by taking care of ourselves so well that we spill over and have more to offer back. The Astro School is for me, so that way I don't feel like I'm the only person on the planet. The next Astro School lesson is going to be on Saturn because I try to do the lessons at an appropriate time when we're really living and experiencing the archetypes. So either you're welcome or I'm sorry for not doing this video in the stereotypical astro lingo, say the dates and say the times and say the sequence for the stay-at-home moms to do their laundry and their bridge club at the right moments, but I don't fucking care. It is such a waste of my time. And I have wasted so much time, y'all. I'm surprised I'm even doing this video right now. But I'm doing this video because I must have some sliver of hope that you are out there. Someone who actually cares, someone who's actually doing the work, and someone who actually wants to use the gifts of our current time to be able to push these things forward, to evolve our species and evolve our humanity, because we can. We can. We have the power, we have the capability, we've got the map, we've got the compass, we've got the flashlight. I look forward to connecting more and more with those who are on my wavelength, those who are doing the work. And it's not just astrology, there's plenty of other medicines, there's plenty of other perspectives. I look forward to getting to meet and hear back from you.